What's up, Kenny?
Joe, I'm just trying to breathe. I'm just trying to breathe.
What are you talking about?
Wow.
Having problems?
First day back in how many months? First day back in how many months, man?
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I'm tearing up for reasons I can't explain. You might be able to explain the reasons why I'm tearing up here in the podcast studio. Wow. Dude. What a summer, huh?
Somebody may have let one go. I don't know who.
Someone. It's either me or you.
I don't know.
And I know it wasn't me. Whew.
You did come walking in with a cookie.
I did.
For yourself.
Look, for those who don't know, we set up 15 minutes early, then it becomes 10 minutes early, 5 minutes early. I say, hey, I'm going to run down and get a cup of coffee. You want anything? You had a bottle of water. I come
Hold on. You didn't say, do you want any? You didn't say, I'm going down to get coffee and a cookie. Do you want anything? You didn't say I was going down to get a cup of coffee.
I didn't say I was going to get a cookie.
You didn't say anything. You said, I need a drink. And then you darted.
Why do you let the details get in the way of a good story?
Because
right? Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story. I said, I got to go down and get a drink. You already had one.
But you didn't say you didn't coffee and a cookie.
I never mentioned a cookie because I didn't know there were
latte.
I didn't know there were cookies until I got downstairs and there were cookies. Okay? Then I came back up, stepped into the podcast room, and was hit with a wave. And we're not at the beach.
Salmon.
Yo, talking about the beach. How was your summer?
It was good. It's good. I'm glad to be back. Right? I mean, you know, with school sports and then travel sports, we missed some time, but now we're back. Hopefully.
Well, when people don't know where we went down to Virginia Beach. We hung out with family and some cousins in our little pod.
Yeah. On the ocean, had a good time.
Had a nice space where we were close enough to the ocean and right with a pool. I think that was a pretty cool trip. I would do it again.
I would do it again.
I would do it again with the same people.
I would do it again with the same people because I wasn't the only people. See, when you go on vacation with that many people, it's like, at what point are you just gonna like strangle somebody's wife because they're driving you crazy? But that didn't happen on this trip.
Well, some people
I got along with everybody.
Yeah, sometimes I think the people that are with us, some of them might be strangling even when they're not driving them crazy, but that's a story for another day.
I mean, the people that drove me crazy the most was my own family.
But that place was, for a whole year, we were waiting to go.
Yeah. No, it was a good time. Good people, good time. Everybody got along. Everything was...
Yeah, and being that our kids that are at a certain age where we don't have to really keep that close of attention on them, they were able to enjoy themselves, and we were able to hang out and enjoy ourselves, and good time. I would definitely go back to Virginia Beach again and do it all over. It
was good, the families with really young kids, how they had to keep following them around and scrambling and fixing their food.
Yeah, that was definitely a reminder of what it was like to have young kids, age 2 through 5 or 6, where they have to just be parents. Something that we do at a different level now.
That's right. Less parenting, more just guiding.
Yeah. It was interesting.
Advice giving.
And I don't know that we've done a real podcast all summer, have we?
No, we haven't. But we're back. We're back, and I'm pissed off.
You're pissed off?
Yeah.
What are you pissed off about?
Sports.
You want to jump into some sports?
Politics. The whole thing.
What's the first thing about sports that comes to mind?
Let's give out the number first, right? So the number to call in. And look, I would love for some of you to call in because we always have a lot of these discussions on Facebook, and I would welcome with some of you, with all of you, but with some in particular, a debate. Whether it's Daniel Jones, the Yankees, and whatever you want to talk about.
The number is 845-366-2095. Hopefully your phone is on. Is your phone ready?
We're ready to go. It's all synced up, ready to go. So 845-366-2095. Back to school. Kids are gearing up to go back to school on Wednesday. Can't wait. Can't wait. I'm sure the teachers can't wait.
I think the teachers are ready to go back to school. As a matter of fact, I think there was a meme on Facebook That was been going
Oh,
around this
yeah.
past few days.
Yeah, this is good.
You could see it on the board. That's showing up on the
Yeah.
screen. Let's read it for the people. Folks, it's National Leave a Bottle of Wine on the Porch of Anyone Who Works in Education Week. Tell the others.
Who are the others? But so it's National Leave a Bottle of Wine on the Porch of Anyone Who Works in Education Week. Now, my wife posted this.
Is she a person who works in education?
She is an educator.
Does she need a bottle of wine on the porch for her first week of work?
Look, I get it. They got to deal with, all your kids, all your angels that never do anything wrong. It's always the teacher's fault, right? But I think it takes a lot of stones to ask publicly for bottles of wine to be brought to your porch by people who have been working for the last 2 months
So
to bring to a teacher's porch.
Yeah, the meme isn't necessarily the most timely meme. I can understand that point of view, that of all the people who should be gearing up to get back to work, it would be those who have been on vacation.
Yeah. What's wrong? You don't like the kids?
3 weeks.
You don't like the kids?
You already need a drink?
You already need a drink? You don't like the...
Is
well,
the
like,
stress level
is
too
it
high
not
already?
Already? You haven't gone back yet?
Wow. Is that how you feel, Nick?
I just don't know. Look, listen, I respect the teachers. My wife's a teacher. Some of my best friends are teachers. Their spouses are teachers.
It is funny. It was definitely a timely meme. It was worth at least mentioning. On a totally different note, how did you feel about traveling out of state during this time of year? I can tell you that before you answer. For me, it was a little uncomfortable. I got to tell you, it's not as though I have not been out of state during the COVID pandemic, but this time I was out of state and around masses of people.
What masses of people?
For the 10 fans at the Camden Yards that were at the Baltimore.
Yeah.
the Baltimore
We were
game.
social distance. There was like 8 people there.
I was shocked how few people were at that game, but still, the concept of being in Baltimore, and it's another city, and in Baltimore, Maryland, the COVID numbers were higher than New York. Did you feel at least at all uncomfortable up being out of our New York area?
No. No, because you're either going to social distance or you're not going to social distance. It's not going to matter where you are. If you're nervous or you have some sort of anxiety about it, wear a mask, stay away from people 6 feet. You're going to do that anyway, right? You're going to do that in New York. You're going to do that in a coffee shop, Starbucks, wherever you are. So just because you crossed an imaginary line on a map doesn't make it. It shouldn't make it any worse. Now, if you're going to say, well, other states, New York has high. Do you know that Florida and New York have almost the same vaccination rate for the population?
I did not know that.
It's very close.
But I know that Florida
2 different approaches.
I know Florida is
extremely close.
getting a lot of bad press, along with Kentucky and some other southern states because of their ICU beds being taken up. They're like at 90% capacity. That's a bad thing. But in any event, I was trying to add more levity to the conversation. I wasn't trying to get all serious, but I thought it was interesting that I had some anxiety down there in Baltimore. And when we went to a rather large hotel, the hotel rule was, wear your mask indoors. And I felt that and observed at least 50% of the people walking into this public hotel were not following that hotel's request. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did. I saw there was a lot of people not wearing masks.
How did that make you feel in terms of, look, you're going into a private establishment where they're requesting you to wear the mask and 50% of the people are not, and I'm not in a position where I'm going to try and regulate it?
It doesn't bother me because I'm going to wear my mask. If I'm going to wear my mask, I'm going to wear my mask. See, I find it really hard with COVID to sit here and preach at people. And I'm not saying you are, but I'm just saying to sit here and preach at people about wearing a mask and not wearing a mask. I don't want to be told what to do. You know, these people need to be told what's like. Don't sit there and tell me, well, those people aren't wearing a mask and you don't care about other people if you don't wear a mask. It's just absurd to me. And by the way, I'm pro-vaccine. I'm anti people telling others what to do, though. Like, I'm anti-mandate. I don't know if I'm fully anti-mandate. Pro-vaccine. I could be pro-vaccine and anti-mandate, right? I could be pro, yeah, you should get the vaccine, but I'm not going to tell you what to do. And I don't like people on social media just constantly berating people and posting shit and telling them what to do, because I'm going to be honest, with a lot of this stuff, people really don't care about the other people. They just care about the politics of the issue, right? Like Cuomo. Since we've been on, Cuomo's out of office, right? I had nobody on my social media that's been so outraged about sexual assault and victims, that were so outraged when when it was a Republican accused of it. There was none of that outrage when Cuomo was accused of it, right? It just goes back to you don't care about the victims, because if you cared about the victims, you'd have the same outrage regardless of the party. You care about the politics of it, right? You care about the politics of, there's a lot of people, and you might not like this, there's a lot of people out there that just care about the politics of racism, not real racism in the real victims, right? Because a lot of people would have the same outrage when Tim Scott was called an Uncle Tim, when a black Republican had a racial slur thrown at him, but there was no outrage. Because again, you don't care about the victim, you care about the politics of it. And that's where I have the problem on social media. It's the politics of everything.
Look, I wanted to raise something that I thought was just as important as that issue. And it really, this is what I was coming up with. And that is, which is better, a triangle sandwich or a rectangular sandwich? I didn't want to go off on a whole pandemic mandate, but I was having this conversation.
What are the eyeballs for?
Yo, because you got to pay attention. You got to pay attention, folks. I just want to know, what do people prefer? Do they prefer a triangularly cut sandwich or rectangularly cut sandwich? Where do you fit in, Nick?
I don't cut my sandwich.
Who does? You don't cut it at all?
No, I just eat it. First of all, if I make the sandwich, you lost your thing there.
Crap. Hang on. It's all good.
If I make the sandwich, then I'm going to cut it the right way.
Well, what's the right way?
But if I don't make the sandwich, then I'm going to get mad at somebody else for cutting it who made the sandwich. I'm kind of ridiculous, right?
Well, if someone's making your sandwich, okay, what I want to know is...
So if I went into a deli and ordered a
sandwich?
grilled cheese, how do I want my grilled cheese cut?
Yeah. So I'm trying to find out.
I'm going to go triangle.
Triangle. Exactly. That's the way to go.
Ab, what do you want?
Okay, there's if you're having a grilled cheese, that's completely different than.
Oh, Jesus. Should never asked.
You're going to have to repeat what you said, because I don't think people can hear it off mic.
Oh, they can hear me.
No, they can't hear you. You're not on the show.
Yeah, they can hear me. They can't hear
We didn't
you.
hear from you.
So if you're having a grilled cheese, it's completely different than having a regular like turkey and cheese sandwich. If you're having a turkey and cheese, you want to cut rectangular. If you're having a grilled cheese, you want to cut triangular. It's completely different. It's completely different.
I guess it depends on, according to Abby. I guess
Very
it depends on the
frustrated with
sandwich.
my camera. Having a little trouble here, Nickley. At least I have it on this camera. Which is better, triangle or rectangle? James Jolly commented, good for him. She's completely on the right track. It depends on what kind of sandwich.
Figures. Figures.
Peanut
depends
butter
on
and
the
jelly?
sandwich?
For
Why
me,
does it
no.
depend?
Yeah, I don't agree. I think for the aesthetics, triangle. All the way. Triangle.
making the sandwich?
Plus, I just love that biting that triangle portion.
Are you giving your wife shit because she cut it raw?
She knows better.
So she makes you a sandwich,
It's
and then
always
you're
cut
gonna, and
triangle.
then if she doesn't cut it in a triangle, what do?
I don't
Take
eat
and
it.
Throw it against the.
I'm like, listen, woman, Next time you make me a sandwich, you know. No, actually, she knows. She knows. I love her. She's making me a sandwich cut
You better.
triangle. But for the kids, no. She'll cut it rectangle. And I go, what are you doing? You're ruining a perfectly good sandwich.
I don't even make sandwiches for my kids.
What?
You make your own sandwich.
Oh yeah, in the summer, but like during the school year, sometimes.
Yeah, I'll make it.
But I don't cut my sandwiches. But if I had to, it depends on the sandwich. Because the cheese one, it's just like the crust on the cheese, like it's on the grilled cheese is grilled, so it has that nice crisp, and it's not just sitting there and you're kind of like eh. Because if you cut it triangular, like in my eyes, it feels like there's more crust than there is sandwich.
You're going to have to
No.
repeat that.
How about you just don't cut it?
How about you grab that mic over
Well,
there?
no, it depends on the sandwich. I'm telling you, you just don't understand.
I don't know if it depends on the sandwich. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I make a sandwich, I eat it. I don't even cut it.
I don't cut it either.
Who cuts their sandwich? I only would have a sandwich if somebody made me a sandwich. That's when it's cut. If I ever make my own sandwiches, I never cut a sandwich.
I had it rectangular when I had mine cut out in third grade.
Does Jody or does your wife cut the crust off too
Does
for your
my
peanut butter and
wife
jelly?
cut the crust off of the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? No.
Jesus.
What?
Oh my God. Oh my Lord.
There. You want to talk, you have to. Well, no, but we have a guest in the studio today, a squatter, Abby Krantz.
Yeah.
And she's off camera, but she's quite vocal. So we said, look, if you're going to talk, then you need to basically be on mic because we can't hear you spouting your nonsense. I mean, your facts. So,
Nonsense is correct.
so take a seat, hold the mic, and we'll make sure that if you want to say something, you can chime in. Got it? All right, awesome. And if you want to poke your face in, you can just poke your face in right over here, and you can let people know.
What is that?
You step in, look at the camera. There you go. All right, you're famous.
Peanut butter jelly is a rectangle.
I agree with that.
I don't.
I agree with that. Jake,
That's like the
wait,
whole
no,
thing
no,
with.
No, let's ask Jake. Jake will know exactly what I'm talking about. Jake, come here.
Listen,
So-
you don't just invite people
Yeah.
into our podcast.
Whose
Hold
show
on a
is this?
second. Wait, this show is going off the rails.
Nah.
All right.
No.
Yeah,
Listen,
you
Al-
got it off the rails
All right,
in
you're-
10 seconds.
Yeah, you wanted to sit in on the podcast.
You could chime in. That's why I have a
and you,
microphone.
and you sat in the corner and you were reading a book, and then you chimed in, and we couldn't hear you. Then we gave you a microphone, and that's fine. Now you want to start inviting people into the podcast. Look, it
Yeah.
doesn't work that way. All right. Now, back to some significantly important issues today. There's something that everyone should know about in the country right now, and that's that today marks the expiration of federal unemployment and pandemic benefits. All right. So it's a really important issue for people in the country who are relying upon or taking advantage of the
Oh no, people don't take advantage
the
of it.
federal unemployment and pandemic benefits. So, on September 5th, which was yesterday, several federal unemployment benefit programs expired. So, for those people enjoying the $300 federal pandemic unemployment compensation
On top of that's on top of unemployment, right?
on top of unemployment, it is going to be gone. Nick, how do you feel about that?
Good.
Wait, whoa, just like that. Wow,
Yeah.
I'm impressed. Good. I'm not impressed that you think it's good, but impressed that you were able to answer the question
Yeah.
with such directness.
No, I think it's good. I think it's good that you end the extra because there's businesses, a lot of restaurants in particular that are not open on certain days because they couldn't find help. Right? A restaurant down on the Strand posted that they were not they had to be closed on Wednesday because of they didn't have enough help. There's restaurants all over that I see that are closed or have changed their hours because they don't have help. Great Escape in Lake George was closed like Tuesday and Wednesday every week or whatever it was because they didn't have any help. The jobs number came out. They thought they were going to add 750,000 jobs. And they added like 260. People won't work if they don't have to.
I find it very interesting because I try to give people the benefit of the doubt and when they were originally doing these benefits, the people in favor of the benefits on both sides of the aisle, they were not taking seriously the concept that people would not work. And then it happened. The benefits came, and individuals who cared for themselves, because this is an individualistic society, they said, hey, I can make more by not working. I ain't working.
Yeah.
I find that so heartbreaking that people who in the public eye will say and cast their opinions on others who are not doing the right thing, but ultimately they're getting money and it's all about money. That's what makes the world go around. They're staying home. They're staying home. Or it's a very small percentage and they're just making it bad for everybody else. And we'll never know, because it's a lot more interesting to talk about the few that are screwing it up for everybody. Because there's probably millions of
there's people that need help, right?
Really
so it's like you know, when people talk about the welfare system, right? And there are people that need help. Trust me, I understand that, right? But there's also a pretty decent segment of that population that is just taking the money, right? Like there's, you know, you teach a man, what is he, give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach him how to fish, right? So I've always been a fan of like trying to have some sort of sliding scale of benefits, right? Like if you get a job and as you work, it gets lower.
I'll
Right,
tell you
like-
what
like
we, I'll
some-
tell you what we
something like
don't
that.
know. Here's what I don't know the answer to this question, but I'd like to know the answer to this question. And that is, with what rigor did the government audit individuals who were getting these benefits? Because my recollection from individuals who have been on unemployment before the pandemic was that you needed to go onto the New York State Employment, benefits website and indicate what, you've been out of work for this past week or two, and you needed to indicate that you the answer to that question. But I would think, in hindsight, that someone getting the benefits should have had to have demonstrated that they looked at the do. Do you know?
I don't know, but and here's where we have a real here's I think there's another part of that problem though, right? So I don't think the government's going to really spend a lot of time going after people with money, right? I think the more of the political move is to always go after the rich, always go after the people, right? The big corporations, the business owners, stuff like that.
I think you make a very good point that this is really just a drop in the bucket in their eyes, is what you're saying. They're going, A, it's not enough money to go hunt after these people. B, if we do, we're
But
killing our base.
Political
for being
suicide, right?
elected.
Because you're going after the poor people that can't work while the rich people are blah, 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 right? Where go after them. It's a political game that if you go after those people, you look like a terrible human being. But if you go after the rich, everybody's happy, right? Rah rah rah. Go get them. They obviously must be screwing somebody. They obviously must be taking advantage of the system, right? They must be taking advantage of the system. So why do they get to take advantage of the system and these people can't take advantage?
There
of
are
the system?
people who I heard on the, people who were interviewed on the radio. They would say, wow, I'm not going back to work, not because I can't work, but because I'm getting more money by not going back to work. And that's just the nature of the society in which we live. When it's over, I'll go back to work. Look, there's a lot of people doing it. It's really unfortunate.
I agree.
Yeah.
But it's like anything, right?
But it's over.
So
it's over. And now
I mean, if the
people have to
government
go get a job.
I mean, if the government wants to, if the government's going to need revenue, right? So where are they going to try to find revenue from? Right? Every time you turn around, it's tax the rich, do this, let's create a new tax, let's create something to drive revenue. The federal estate tax is, $5.5 million. It's like, 12 million or 11 million per couple. That's what's going to get reduced. Right? The step up in cost basis, I know I'm kind of getting into the weeds a little bit. That's going to be reduced. That means, Kenny, you bought this house. Let's say you bought a house and it was $100,000. You leave it to your kids and it's now worth $500,000. The current law is, their cost basis is $500,000. So if they sold it the day they inherited it and sold it for $500,000, there's no taxes. The government wants to roll that back. So when you leave that house to them, now it's worth 500. You paid 100, and they sold it. They have to pay tax on 400,000. That's where they're gonna. They're always gonna attack people. They're always gonna go after people that I don't want to say are successful or rich, but you have makers, and it's oversimplifying it. There's makers and there's takers. And I'm not saying the takers are all bucking the system. That's not what I'm saying. But there is a portion of people that are just kind of living off the system, and they're fine with that. But you're going to get to a point where you can't get close or have the pendulum swing the other way, because there's only so much you can take from people. I mean, go stay in a hotel and look at your bill.
Oh, you don't have to tell me.
It's insane.
We talk about the
Your
fact
cable
that
bill and all these other bills.
at some point there will be anarchy if you're going to start taking more than 50% of what people earn. But that's a story for another day. Isaac Jones comments on taxes. We're going to move on to some lighter areas, but I think in the future we should put together an agenda and talk about taxes, because he talks about a flat tax, meaning just tax everybody if everybody just gets taxed at 10%.
Well, there was a fair tax, right?
Fair tax is not the same thing as a
flat tax.
But,
Fair.
But we can't go down that road, Isaac. Is Isaac our New Orleans Saints fan? Is that
yeah.
all right? Cool.
He's still mad
That what?
Drew Brees is not the GOAT.
That's. And then I just lost this connection again for us. So hang on. Let's try to get connection on our TV so we can go to the next thing. But hey, New York Yankee baseball. Who's the shortstop?
Oh, you just want to go right into the Yankees.
I just want to go into that.
You just want me to go right into just
Here we go. Who is the shortstop?
Outright rage.
Who is the shortstop for the New York Yankees?
Gleyber Torres.
Okay. And you had posted on Facebook your criticism of this shortstop. Why?
He stays back, slow ground ball, stays back, doesn't come through the ball, double clutches, lobs it over there. The guy's safe. Here's Gleyber Torres' problem, is that since he doesn't hustle ever, regardless if it's a one-run game, since he never hustles, he thinks nobody else hustles. And this is constant with him, playing ground balls like this, where routine ground balls in the infield become base hits. Now, the Yankees lost by 1 run in this game because the next guy up hit a home run.
Is this something this guy's been doing all season?
All year. So he obviously doesn't care.
And how important was this individual game against the subpar Baltimore team?
That team, the Yankees lost 2 out of 3 to Baltimore. You're fighting for a wild card. You're fighting for the playoffs. It's below 500 and on pace to lose 110 games. And you lose 2 out of, by the way, in epically bad, embarrassing fashion.
How bad was it? Embarrassing.
It's just bad. And by the way,
Did they get blown
I understand Gary Sanchez had a good game the other day, right? But they lost. He hit 2 home runs. There is no coincidence that when Gary Sanchez and Gleyber Torres came off the IL, the Yankees started losing, having epic losses again. You don't win 13 in a row, bring those 2 guys back, and then you go 3 for your next 10 in the worst ways against the worst teams. Lazy play.
Are they going to win the wild card?
Yeah, they're 3 games ahead in the wild card. They're tied with the Red Sox for the first wild card. But you can't tell me it's a coincidence that when you bring lazy players back, you start losing again. Now, I'm not saying that the Vasquez, was that his name? The shortstop? Kid from the Bronx whose dad's a cop, detective. I'm not saying he is the answer. But there is a certain amount of legitimacy to that laziness kind of festering. Because it happens all the time. There's ground balls that Gary Sanchez could beat out, that Gleyber Torres could beat out, and these guys won't even run or hustle down the line in a playoff race in a 1-run game. That to me is if you're going to play like that, then we don't sign these guys to contracts next year. Gleyber Torres and Gary Sanchez are free agents. They cannot come back. They cannot come back. And it's okay to sit guys like Joey Gallo. I know you got him at the trade deadline, but he's batting $190 now. He can't hit. This is what drives me nuts about the so smart Yankee fan, right? Oh, the New York fan is so smart and they're so tough on you and they're tough on you, but they love you and they're so smart. The highest IQ fans. Honestly, you're the dumbest fans I've ever seen, probably on the planet. Because when you boo a guy like Giancarlo Stanton on opening day, they booed him the other day. By the way, do you realize that if the Yankees don't have Giancarlo Stanton, you're not in the playoffs? You're not in the playoffs. You have no shot of being in the playoffs without Giancarlo Stanton. Because there's been runs early this year and this past run that when the Yankees have gone on a run to get back in this race to stay in it, it's when he's been hitting the ball. End of story. Prove me wrong. 845-36. It's like when everybody hated A-Rod, but no A-Rod, no World Series in 2009. Because in the month of July, he put the team on his back, carried first round or second round of the playoffs. No A-Rod, no World Series ring in 2009. You might not like it. You might not want to hear it. But the guy that you hate the most, look, I said Giancarlo Stanton was going to bat probably 265, hit 30 home runs, knock in 100 runs. I think he was like 270 something, 27 home runs. And by the way, for such the smart fan, the so smart Yankee fan, more than half of his home runs, because this is what you hear, oh, he hits garbage home runs, his home runs don't mean anything. More than half of his home runs have been to tie a game or take the lead. But we're so smart at Yankee Stadium. First of all, if you're there drinking $15 beers, you're not smart. Right? Sorry. Truth hurts.
Next, if there was a horn, I'd be like, beep. That's not a horn. That's a buzzer. So on my fantasy football team, look, fantasy football drafts were off, millions were done this past week because football's starting so soon. So in my fantasy football league, I got stuck with Saquon Barkley, and I'm very concerned about the New York Giants' offensive
You want to go into the
line.
Giants now?
And so I want to hit you with, how am I going to do with Saquon Barkley?
Okay, we'll talk Giants.
He was top 5, by the way, in the fantasy football draft. He was the top 5 pick overall.
Yeah, he's
how
phenomenal because offensively he's a phenomenal player, right? He's going to score a lot of points. Can he stay healthy to play week 1 after coming off the AC?
He's going to play against Denver. He's not going to play.
Now, but let's talk about the Giants. Sorry. And yells, Daniel Jones sucks, but gives no reason why he sucks. Well, he delivers a bad ball. They don't give you any reason why Daniel Jones sucks. They just yell. They just see the result sometimes, and they go, Daniel Jones sucks. Okay. Let's peel back the layers a little bit for Daniel Jones. Last year was his first full year as a starter, no camp. He had, for your first full year, your second year in the league, first full year as a starter, you have no training camp because of COVID. Tom Brady didn't have a training camp either with his new team because of COVID. And they struggled. They were a 500 team till the bye week. After they got comfortable and kind of gelled together, they went on a run, didn't lose a game for the rest of the year.
So
I'm not comparing Daniel Jones to Tom Brady.
You're all in on Daniel Jones? You're going to give him a break?
Yeah, I'm all in on Daniel Jones because I've seen him play well. You want to go to statistics? Here we go. Last year, the New York Giants. So he's got one full season, no camp. Last year, the Giants were the 31st ranked offensive line in football. This year, going into it, they're the 32nd. How many teams are in the NFL? 32. So they're the worst offensive line. So last year, he had the second worst offensive line. Right? Can't play quarterback with a bad offensive line. Saquon Barkley out for the year. So now your running game is gone, right? Your biggest weapon. You have a receiving core who two out of the top 6 receivers in dropped passes were New York Giants. And the team was 7th overall last year in dropped passes. So you have a quarterback running for his life with a bad offensive line. You have a team that's notorious for the last 6 years of always being in the top 5 in drop passes. And you had no running back. And you had no camp because of COVID. You could put Brett Favre behind that line. You're not winning. You could put Tom Brady behind that line. You're not winning. Now, when the Giants did go on a run and won some games, it was because Daniel Jones was getting some protection. I'm not saying Daniel Jones doesn't have to stop the fumbles and make better decisions. But the problem is when you're a young quarterback in your first full season and you have a bad team and you have a bad offensive line, you will make mistakes and force balls. More quarterbacks will do that than young quarterbacks won't do that. Okay? It's just what happens. It's just the progression. Now, the Giants need to get better putting players around him that are competent. In the last preseason game, at one point he was 6 for 7. The one pass that didn't get completed was a 3rd and 13 that he hit the guy in the numbers and he dropped it. Now, he came down the field and threw a terrible interception. All right, he should have never forced that ball. That was awful. And he does have to fix the fumbles. But he did fix the fumbles last year. After about halfway through the season, he stopped fumbling. But to sit here and just say he sucks, what are you going to do? Go draft it? Let me just... somebody please call me and just give me the reason why Daniel Jones sucks. 845-366-2095.
What's that number?
You can't. 845-366-2095. And if you want to go draft another quarterback, go ahead. You'll set the franchise back another 5 years. Because it doesn't offensive line. They didn't give him a running back. They didn't give him receivers.
So you're not feeling any confidence with the Giants, even though they're playing with the Redskins, the Cowboys, and the Eagles. Now, the Redskins and the Cowboys are forecasted to do very well this year. So,
but why?
Well, the Cowboys always on paper. Always on paper. Sound great.
Where's the post where people are like, Dak Prescott outplayed Tom Brady for last year until he got hurt. He played 4 weeks and then broke his ankle in half.
Right.
I don't care that he played better than Tom Brady for 4 weeks. Tom Brady was playing with a new team, a brand new team. And by the way, Tom Brady won a Super Bowl.
I thought
one.
But I thought the Cowboys are built to win right now.
They're always built to win, but they haven't won in 20 years. Enough with the Cowboys. Look, the NFC East is not going to be that good.
Right.
Okay? Washington was okay last year, but Washington won the division. What was their record? They were not that good. I lose my mind sometimes.
You?
With just the Stanton sucks. Stanton sucks. Well, why does he suck? Well, he makes $30 million a year. Okay.
All right, a little levity. We live in the city of Kingston, or near the city of Kingston, and Kingston has developed a roundabout in town. Nick, I think it's excellent. I find it to be much better than the traffic lights that were there, and I have yet to see any real limitations or difficulties with it during rush hour. Cars come off of the major route, or they're going back and forth from Broadway, and no one really ever has to stop. You know what I mean? You're not stopped for long lights. And if you're going slow, under 20 miles an hour, that's the way it works, and it functions really well. What's your experience been?
I don't know. I'm sweating from the Giants right
I know, I could tell. I figured let's get off sports for a second. Talk about our community.
Because I get
it was
into
like 5 years in the making.
I get into discussions with people, and they just say the same thing. And it's like, I list out all these reasons, and they just go,
bro, what do you think about
he throws a bad ball.
All right. I can't talk to you about the Giants. They haven't played a game yet, but I can tell you I'm driving in circles in this roundabout in the city of Kingston. Okay? And with all the complaints about bike lanes.
Where's the Subaru lane out there? Where's that? Right across the middle? The ramp, they just jump it?
I just think that people, when they're coming around, the hardest part is if you're coming into this thing, you've got to go slow.
No.
You can't just come whipping through it at 30 miles an hour and cause a wreck. Other than that, it doesn't look too complicated.
It really isn't. And by the way, people just want to hate things right out of the gate. They just want to hate everything.
Yeah, if there's an attempt at improvement, it's like, give me a break. What do we need this for? We need to get our potholes filled.
That intersection is 10 times easier to get through now.
Yeah, I think so. If you're coming east to west, you're in one lane or the other, just go slow. It works.
Now the mayor just got to find his bike lane.
Yeah, I don't know how a bike lane goes through here. I don't know why they needed to put fancy stone walls.
Because they want to
Things
make it
like
look
that.
nice.
I don't get it. They just saved your money on the stone wall.
Well, if it's a grant, it's a grant, right? You can't save the money. Right, you got to use it.
True, it's a grant. That's what you said. I didn't understand what you meant. Right, they have to spend the grant or else you lose.
It's not it's never the circles that are problems. It's the people driving
Right.
that are the
The
problems.
people that are driving too fast.
You don't know how to use the thing.
They drive too fast through it. They exit from the middle lane. You know, like if you're in the inside lane, you're not supposed to just go right out to the outside.
Yeah. Listen, I like it. There's no complaints here. I get through there without any problems. I'm not waiting through 4 red lights,
Exactly.
or I'm not on the other side waiting on that hump to get over, and then 3 lights later.
Yeah, I think it's coming up pretty good.
I think it's a good job.
New York Jets.
Now that will be busier. That traffic circle will be busier when the $300 ends, because people are going to start having to come back to work.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that ended though. It ended. People have to go back to work.
yeah, find a job.
Good job.
Look, I'm sorry. Honestly, I don't even know what unemployment is. How much is unemployment?
It's not a lot. I don't know.
Right?
It's not a lot. You can't survive on it. You're not making You're not making some average $30,000 salary on unemployment.
It's like 400.
If it was
Then it's
400
another
a
300
week,
at 700 a week.
oh my God, can't survive on that. I don't even know. That's what's so embarrassing. Like you and I are ignorant as to what those numbers are, and here we are pontificating and telling people get a job.
Yeah, I don't know what they are because I work. Sorry.
That's right. I'm like, I don't know what they are. I just know. Yeah, it's bad.
I don't know. Is it bad? I don't think it's bad. I don't know.
I'm out.
Mike Raposa, 600. What's 600? 450 after taxes.
600.
What's 600?
So it's 600 a week. 600 a week, says Michael Raposa. So you get 600 a week. That'd be 2,400 a month.
Is it 600 a week and then the 300, or are you
Yeah.
saying it's
Yes.
600 total?
No, it's 600 plus 300.
Hold on, you're getting 600 a week on unemployment and then another 300.
Yeah.
So you're making $900 a week.
Yeah, I think it was even up to 1,000. But I didn't think it was a week. I thought it was a month.
Like, what are you
They
talking
were
about?
like, people were going to make like
Weekly,
10
he says.
weekly. All right. So you're not making 1,000 a week. You're not making $4,000.
Now I know
a
why people
month,
aren't
are you?
working. Wow.
2,400 plus the 300. Oh, man, no, it's more like it's under $3,000 a month, isn't it, Michael? Someone's got to look that up.
Yeah, but that's $3,000 a month. That's like $36,000 a year. What's the median salary in this area?
The country,
No, here.
probably here in this area is probably somewhere between 25 and 35. I can
Okay,
It up. I can
so-
look it up.
Okay.
I'll look it up.
So there you go. Look it up. Because if you're going to tell me that I'm going to make 35,000 working and I'm going to make
Median salary
32,000 not working, people are just not going to work.
about 32,000.
And then-
Ulster. You hear me? 32.
Okay.
Median.
So 32,000. So you're going to give people 32,000 to not work? Am I understanding this correctly? Somebody please let me know if I'm just Hold on a second.
Where you go? Closing the door? Don't ruin the air in here, Nick Kranz.
Ah. That was Abby. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
Isn't that why you have kids? To blame them on things? For things like that? Look. If you're going to tell me that you're going to get $30,000 for not working when the median is 32, yeah, people aren't going to work. They're just not going to work.
48.
Gets a base hit and goes thumbs down to everybody. I'm frustrated that, they went and got people like Lindor and Baez at the trade deadline, and Lindor's batting a 150, and you went from first place to 6 games out of first place below 500. Sorry if the fans are a little bit agitated and are going to boo you. You should not be booing the fans back. You are in first place. You are now in third place in the division. And you're going
They're
to,
woke.
like, what? Like, I don't get it. And then you're not good. They're going to boo you. And then he says, don't be a fair-weathered fan. That just shows you how out of touch players and ex-players are. And to watch that dog shit team year in and year out. If there's any fan that's not it's a Mets fan. It's a Mets fan. Just completely out of touch. It's unbelievable to me how out of touch players are, ex-players are, with reality. And I guess since, nowadays, you have the kids coming in that have just been told that, Jesus. You have players now that have just been told that they've been great their whole lives and have been coddled in travel ball and have always been superstars that I guess, they feel like they could pretty much do anything they want. Right? You don't have to run. Major League Baseball is going to be in trouble. Major League Baseball is going to be in trouble in 20 years. They got to figure something out. And it's not make the bases bigger and all kinds of other stuff. What else you got, Kenny?
Nothing. I'm trying not to make it too heavy with politics.
That's why you're scrolling politics.
Scrolling politics. Just like, well, in the news this week, one of the bigger.
We keep losing signal.
Yeah, I don't understand that, but we have a signal because it says we're live. So don't trust the public who tells you don't have a signal. You might have some interrupted feed, but we have a signal.
I don't trust anybody. I trust Ike, though, somewhat.
We have a signal. Just telling you.
There's lots of interrupted live feed this evening.
All right, then we'll just end it.
Facebook sucks.
Go to YouTube.
Might just yeah, we have streaming it on YouTube. I think we might just link it, put the link on Facebook and go to YouTube.
Next time.
Because if you can't, what's the point if nobody can hear you? What's the point?
Well, I don't know if anyone can hear us right now.
I could be doing radio podcast gold right now.
Yeah.
And nobody would know it.
They'll have to come back and watch it, though.
See, now I'll have to post the YouTube video because Facebook sucks.
Look up. It says you're on.
Oh.
Holding up my phone, people. It says we're on.
See, but on my screen, it has a little ringy ding.
Maybe that's your connection. Maybe you're not getting a good connection. Chris Don Delicia says he can hear us, so he can definitely hear us.
Yeah, keep stalling.
Keep stalling. Look, we're done.
It must be Kenny, because anytime we get close to an hour,
man,
he starts to lose it. Even with eat out a cookie, and a coffee, he's got a little. He's picking up a little bit of energy.
Listen, for the first time back, we didn't bore people too much, and we talked about.
We'll talk about the Jets. Yeah, you want to bore people? Let's talk about the Jets. Another shitty season of New York. Another shitty season of New York football. I might have to start watching lacrosse.
You're funny.
Yeah.
Look, we went through a number of political things, and we went through the Yankees criticism that you had. We talked about a teacher's meme. We talked about the unemployment benefits ending. What we didn't talk about is the law in Texas.
Oh, God.
You think you can talk about pro-choice versus pro-life in 6 minutes? Because I'm out of here at the 1 hour mark. And
I'm not getting into that. I'm not getting into
Because
that.
I'd love to hear what you have to say.
I'm not getting into that.
All right, well then we're not going to get into it.
I still keep looking down. I just wrote down like 3. I wrote down Yankees, Torres, and I'm just every time I look at it, my blood starts to boil because I have to keep. I have to watch a guy play shortstop, who I see and get into discussions on social media with Derek Jeter. People go, Derek Jeter, the worst statistical shortstop. All the metrics say he's the worst statistical shortstop. His range, the balls he gets to, blah 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 blah. I bet you Gleyber Torres is all these numbers and statistics and analytics say he's a better shortstop than Derek Jeter. Who would you rather have as shortstop? Derek Jeter, Gleyber Torres. If you say Derek Jeter, then a lot of times you could throw the analytic bullshit out the window because the eyeball test tells you. Derek Jeter never sat back on, I shouldn't say never, but I don't think Derek Jeter ever allowed so many routine infield singles of balls right at him.
Is this even a discussion in public?
What?
Whether Jeter is not as good?
Oh, yeah. If you Google
Torres.
it, there's always people because you have all the sabermetrics and analytics. And I'm like,
God.
I don't know. The guy's won a bunch of championships as a shortstop. He made here's the thing. He made every play he needed to.
Right.
That's it. And by the way, do they take into account high leverage situations? Like every game is a high leverage situation for the 90s Yankees. World Series, playoffs, do those statistics get taken into account? Who would you rather have? Who would you rather have? Gleyber Torres, who's hitting 250 with 6 home runs and 40 RBIs and can't play defense? Why do you need a shortstop who bats 250, 6 home runs, and 40 RBIs? And can't field the position. Don't need it.
So what
Can't have it.
What do you learn from Derek Jeter through 231 games, had 260 hits. Torres had 231 hits. Jeter only hit 14 home runs. Torres hit 50. And you look at their batting average, their on-base percentage, and slugging. So they're all over the place.
He hit 50 home runs. That's because not this year, not last year. The year before, he hit like 30-something, and then he hasn't done shit in the last 2 seasons. Look, you can show me splits after 231 games, right? At that point right there, Derek Jeter had already won a championship, right? Derek Jeter is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Almost unanimous. One person didn't vote for him. I do not want to see those comparisons ever. I don't want to hear anybody ever say, well, look at Gleyber Torres' numbers compared to Derek Jeter.
The numbers are close, except for the home runs. But it really becomes what
The difference
what was
is
more
the
meaningful.
difference is in a one-run game when he's swinging out of his shoes with a terrible swing with 2 strikes and strikes out, where Jeter put the ball in play and drove the run in.
Right.
So there's a lot of different things that go into those numbers.
I hear you.
But that's just absurd. First of all, whoever made that graphic should be shot.
Why those numbers aren't really meaningful for purposes
They mean
of
nothing
comparison?
to me. They mean nothing to me.
What would have meant something to you? If you're trying to compare 2 players from different generations, what would you want the numbers to be?
Because I've seen both of them play.
Oh, so you're talking
It's
about
not,
the hustle.
it's not like, oh God, don't even talk about the hustle. The hustle is not even a question. Derek Jeter probably beat more. His batting average should be much higher if he ran the bases hard. He could add a couple more points to that average. It's not like we're comparing 2 players that, all right, we're comparing Derek Jeter to, Mickey Mantle. I never seen him play. Like when you say you can't compare generations. I can compare these. I've seen them play. I've seen both of them play. One can't hold a candle to the other, and I never understood what that meant anyway. Can't hold a candle to that guy. What the fuck? What does that mean?
We know what it means, but we don't understand why.
Who made that up?
Right, like why
That's got to
would
be
you-
from like the
why would you-
1800s.
Why would you hold a candle to someone? I don't even know. Right, we get it. I mean, he's not as good as that person. Can't hold a candle. Very funny.
I mean, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Why? I don't understand that either. What does that mean? You can't have your you can't have your cake and eat it too. What, I'm supposed to just look at the cake? Like, you give me, first of all, it's my cake. So if it's my cake, I should be able to eat it. So you're gonna,
my God.
so now you're giving me cake, and now you're putting stipulations on if I can eat my own cake or not? You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Nick, I'm out of here. It's an hour. Yeah.
What? Why are you looking a gift horse in the mouth? What does that mean? What do all these things mean?
For real?
We need some new sayings.
I know we just got through an hour. It was tough. Today was not a good show. I don't feel like we brought our best. We're going to have to do better.
You weren't ready. You weren't prepared.
Dude, I fucking brought the triangle sandwich, okay?
Yeah.
The triangle versus the rectangle sandwich was brilliant.
That's like, you might as well put up the picture of the toilet paper roll.
Yeah.
Is it goes down the front when you replace the roll, or it goes the other way, backwards? So Amy gets mad when I put the toilet paper on, and she's like, the thing comes down the front.
Right.
And I'm like,
What do? You have it come down the back?
does it matter?
Yo, come on. Everybody knows toilet paper's got to be rolled out the correct way.
She told me one time that I used too much toilet paper.
Well,
I said, well, when you start wiping my ass for me, that's when
Listen,
somebody can tell me how much toilet paper I
everybody
have.
knows.
The fact that I put it on there, it should be good enough.
Look, the paper is supposed to
And
be.
leave the seat up for me. I don't. I'm tired of hearing put the seat down for us. Leave the seat up for me.
Dude, the paper is supposed to be towards you, not behind you. Even the patent, when you look back in time to the patent for the toilet paper roll, the toilet paper roll has it in front. So that's what you have to do from now on.
But the patent doesn't say it has to
It
go
has
in the
to
front.
be in the
It's just
front.
a picture.
That's the patent from 1891.
So what happens if it goes the other way?
It's
It just
not about
unravels.
what happens. It's just there's the proper way, and that's what you're supposed to do. Okay.
Put your email address in there. Let's get 20% off.
I don't even know what that was, but listen, doing the best I can. So that was a nice way to end it.
Yeah.
So you don't know how to wipe your ass. You're learning.
No, I do. I just like a clean ass.
All right, people. Nick, bring us out of here. We'll see you next week. What do you say?
I'm drinking next week.
Well, it would be good to have some topics. If people comment on your Facebook post as to what they want to hear you talk about, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, give us topics.
Because I just tell you what I think off the top of my head. And I don't tell Nick what I'm going to ask him before the show so that we get real answers, spontaneity.
8:03. I might have to give Kenny overtime.
Yeah, man, it's been an hour and 2 minutes. We're done. Peace. See you next week.